Some fairly devastating news for fans of Manchester United, maybe even more so fans of England, with the news that Rashford has got 2 to 3 months on the sidelines in front of him because of aggravating his back injury, double stress fracture against Wolves. That happened as he was playing through the pain barrier anyway. He's also got a problem in his ankle. Assess what the picture looks like going forward towards the end of the season for club and country.
Well, in the case of Manchester United, if you're only going to Solskjaer and you're looking at what you have available and picking as to who's going to play up top, and it's one of these, it's you know, well, maybe you. I mean, look, Manchester United was limited with Marcus Rashford on the field, and as good a season as he's had individually, you just look around and you say, okay, where is it that we are going to be a counter-attacking team? What is the most important piece for us to be successful as a counter-attacking team, which is what we've done best against the best teams in the Premier League? Marcus Rashford. Okay, well, so he's gone. So then what's the next best option? Well, we put in Anthony Martial through the middle, and that has worked not so much. It works one game, the next game it doesn't, because that's the nature of his career. That's what Anthony Martial has been. One day he's good, the next 3 games, not so much. And so then where are the opportunities going to come from? Well, now we're dipping into the old Juan Mata conversation. He was left for dead. Now he scores a goal and I'm thinking, hey, wait, Juan Mata could be our solution. Well, no, he's not. There's a reason as to why he had been left for dead. And so, is it Andreas Pereira? No, I don't think so. And there isn't anything to be truly optimistic about with Manchester United in the attack without Marcus Rashford in the picture. There really isn't. And so then you feel that if you're Manchester United, you have to rethink how you approach not only transfer window, but how you approach every game on a weekly basis up until Marcus Rashford is back. You can't be a counter-attacking team if you don't have the counter-attacking personality. But you're not good enough to be a team that is going to be proactive with the ball and keep possession because you don't have good enough players to do that in the midfield. And so then you just have to say, you know what, if indeed this is a youth movement, okay, well then we're going to play Williams, and we're going to play Greenwood, and we're going to go with those guys, and we're going to ride them, and we're going to see what we have here and see if those guys can take a next step, the next level and the next evolution of their careers. And if that's the case, then maybe you run into a situation where you find yourself with players that can be useful not only this year, but for years to come. And the only way to find that out is to put them out on the field.
Why didn't they make a move in the transfer market, especially for someone like Erling Haaland? I mean, maybe it was the contract issue that they didn't want to get involved in.
Well, I think part of the reason is because we continue to be critical of Solskjaer, and that has some value to it. We continue to be critical of the players, and that has some value to it. We continue to be critical of Manchester United as an organization, and that has some value to it. But when you put it together, it's a mess. And so the biggest mess for Manchester United, looking from the outside in, is what is the direction of the club? What are we trying to do? Because if it is about young players, well, here it is, a striker, young player, Salzburg. There's an opportunity for you to make that investment, and you didn't. And somebody else jumped ahead of you. And now you're back of the line once again. Here he was, 19-year-old, there you go, opportunity, young, up and coming. And it doesn't help that the guy shows up with Borussia Dortmund, scores a hat-trick his first game, and now people are like, well, what are we doing? Well, what's going on? Why are we not consistent enough in our message? If it is about young players, here is the young player that we know can score goals, has scored goals in Champions League, and we can trust for him to be that focal point in the attack, and then give freedom to Marcus Rashford to run around and run beyond Haaland. And you think about it and think, well, it makes sense. But apparently it makes sense for you and I, but it doesn't make sense enough for Manchester United to be aggressive enough and get after it. And so, I go back to the fact that if you got a mess on the field, you got to mess with the coach, but you got to mess upstairs as well, then the decisions that are being made, or lack thereof, should not surprise us, because right now this club is going in every which way, and it really just changes with every result. Well, we're going with a young movement. Well, no, we're going to trust Solskjaer. We're going to trust the young players. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And in doing this and that, you do nothing, and you remain a team that is quickly becoming irrelevant when it comes to the Premier League.
Is the injury as devastating for England as it is for Manchester United, particularly with Kane missing.
Yeah, I think so. I think Manchester United are what they are. And we come to expect what we see on a weekly basis from Manchester United. And sometimes they look okay, other times not so great. And it's disappointing, but at least you know what that is. With England, there is a level of expectation of, wait a minute, this is a team that could win the whole thing. And Marcus Rashford could very well be a key part of that conversation. And so if he's not healthy, there's a problem. If Harry Kane, who's still injured right now and comes back from injury, we don't know what he's going to look like after the injury. We don't know if he... So now you start having some questions like, wait a minute, no Rashford, no Kane. Where is it going to come from? So it changes the picture. And I think it's far more significant to think about what this can do for or against England than it is Manchester United. Manchester United is not going anywhere anytime quickly, whereas England, there's a certain level of expectation that they can win the whole thing. Manchester United is not winning anything.
It's hard to disagree with that sentiment as things stand. So it's bad news, certainly for Manchester United, even more worryingly for Gareth Southgate, perhaps.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.